Hi, my dear Astro family. Today we will be speaking about Mars going out of bound on the 20th of January until 20th of December until 23rd of January. So this is the aspect of the week picked by me. I thought it's important to talk about this because obviously it's going to be approximately about 33 days and it is going to be happening while Pluto is an anaretic degree. So this could make things a little more volatile. People can become frustrated. But I would like to cover the positive meaning of Mars as well, so that we might be able to focus on the positives. Before we do that, remember, I've got an upcoming medical course coming up starting on the 6th of January. It is suitable for pretty much beginners as well who has got little understanding over astrology, but they want to feel better in their own skin and sign up for this upcoming course. And on top of that, I made something cool. I hope you will enjoy it. Basically, if you go on my website, you can play the Wheel of Fortune and you can win memberships, free courses, webinars, or just discount on readings and webinars courses. So try your luck. We have got Jupiter and Uranus conjunction coming up. So it might be giving you the chance to win something great. And please, if you like the video, share it with others, like it, and maybe you want to be referring some of my work to your friends as well. It would be much appreciated. Let's get going with the Mars out of bound. So let's get the technical parts out first. An out of bound planet happens when basically when Mars is not visible towards the sun. Now, what I mean by visibility is that there is basically declination of each planet, and the maximum declination of the sun is 23 degree 27 minutes. And then when a planet goes out of that range, then basically it becomes pretty much invisible towards the sun. Now, I would like to mention that this 23, 27 is nothing to do with your zodiacal degrees. We're talking about latitude, magnitudes, and so forth. So one of the ways you can actually check that, I'm going to show you how to do that. When you go on astro.com, you should be able to see the screen now. So when you go on astro.com, and then you're just going to have to type in your birth data. And let's see if this person has got out of bound planets. So how you do that is that you are going to click on additional table right there. Now, this is the latitude here. Okay, so that's basically the degree of your planet. But you want to be focusing more on the declination column. And typically it comes up red anyway if you have got any out of bound planets. But the number should be above 23, 27. That's when you have got declination. Now, the N or S, basically that just indicates where that happens on the hemisphere. So whether it's on north or south. So that would be an out-of-bound planet. Now, out-of-bound planets are said to be a Uranian flavor. So it's like a Uranus and Mars conjunction this time around. If you've got Venus out of bound, that would be like a Uranus and Venus type of conjunction. Now, I do like working with out of bound planets, especially when I use timing techniques, because you might have been born with an out of bound planet, but it's not going to be out of bound in your entire life. When they go inbound, usually there is a turning point in your life. But also, you might have been born with an out of bound planet, but shortly after, it's going to go within bound. So usually these are turning points in our lives. It's called basically declination, progress declination chart. I did make a webinar about this before. If you are curious, you might want to be checking out how to work with that. It's a very good tool to have in your pocket. So basically, as we said, out-of-bound planets have got Uranian flavor. Mars becomes out of the sight of the sun. So therefore, imagine the sun being the boss and a planet becomes uncontrollable. It's kind of like when you leave the children home, you do not know what they do, right? So they might be causing a bit of a mess and so forth. Always this Christmas movie comes to my mind. What was the title of that? Oh, Jesus, it's a classic, but I'm terrible with titles. Anyway, they forget the little boy at home, right? And then all goes chaotic. So that's kind of like an out of bound planet. Now, Mars out of bounds is a term used in astrology to describe when Mars has a declination greater than 23 degree and 27 minutes north or south. So what is Mars? Mars is your style. It shows how you get things done in your life, how you approach things, how you go about something that you badly want, for example. Uh, Mars can actually represent your short-term goals, your directions in a short term in life, how we might want to tackle a problem, but in a short run, how you defend yourself, how you stick up for yourself. These are also some Marsian topics. Mars is the engine of the car, right? So what does the engine do within a car? It basically propels you to a destination. So Mars propels us towards success somehow. It's very important that you learn to set goals around your Mars. Basically, it shapes your ambition, but also how much control, how much over control you are in your life is a Mars topic as well. Life force is represented by these planets as well. And also what motivates you, what makes you get out of bed each morning. Yes, these are probably some of the most important meanings of Mars. Yes, there are certain other negative ones which we tend to be focusing quite a lot nowadays, such as anger, frustration, fight, violence, war. It pretty much got stuck in our head that Mars is basically the planet of war. Right? That's true. Mars has got the hunger to conquer, to become the best, to beat the enemy. And often Mars comes across pushy, relentless, way too ambitious as well. But it's not all about, bad things, pretty much, I would say. At the end of the day, Mars has got exaltation in Capricorn. So the aim is to become Capricorn. Why am I talking about this? Because Mars is currently in the sign of Sagittarius, which is all about learning. So I feel like when we're looking at the zodiacal circle, Mars in the sign of Sagittarius needs to have faith that they can come across any type of challenges, for example, in their profession, in their career, and so forth. So I think this out-of-bound Mars wants to propel us towards element of success, but it also might want you to pick up certain knowledge you might need on that journey. Mars is the planet of determination. So, how determined are you to achieve your goals? And Mars loves challenges and is meant to overcome, fears. Now, you need the belief system, you need that positive attitude or a great opinion about yourself that when you are running into a brick wall, then you are going to be able to face them easily. Um, Therefore, Mars' primary goal is to become Capricorn somehow. Mars wants to be respected, appreciated, looked upon, and also being successful as well. So that would be the positive side of Mars. Now, of course, if you are not using your Mars well, then it's going to become a battlefield in your chart. So, for example, Mars in the first house can indicate a body image issue, someone who keeps fighting, for example, with weight problems. When it becomes a great Mars in the first house, you know what? It becomes a athlete, right? Or Mars in the first house can get really triggered when someone is going to criticize them about their look, appearance, and so forth. Anything to do with the way they come across. And I have Mars in the first house. When someone criticizes me about my accent, for example, like someone did a couple of days ago on YouTube, I go offensive and I attack immediately. And that's what Mars does in the first house, for example. So anyway, but that's not necessarily what I wanted to talk about. So you might want to be asking yourself certain type of questions when it comes to whether you have got a healthy Mars or a unhealthy Mars, determining whether you want to be working with this planet a little bit more, or it functions on the right vibration. Do you have abundant energy? Do you feel burned out? Do you get things done? Do you finish tasks? Are you controlled? Do you get into fights easily? Are you toned? Are you in shape? Do you try too hard? Do you get obsessed with certain topics? Are you jealous? Are you vindictive? Are you overly ambitious? Or are you lacking uh, to follow through? Are you impatient? Do you struggle to pay attention to things around you? Give yourself an honest yes or a no, and you will understand whether you need to be working with Mars or not. Now, but Mars is going out of bound. So it could, of course, indicate all those topics could become chaotic. Now, you know what? Mars, surely in the sign of Sagittarius, has got a vision. And when it's out of bound, usually that vision is connected to freedom. So this Mars is a freedom fighter. It is fighting for individuality, it is fighting for survival needs, but also fighting to have an opinion on a matter. That's why it's very possible that people are going to be ending up on the streets, demonstrating against something, and so forth. I'm expecting that. When Mars is out of bound, often we need to become street smart just to be able to, meet your survival needs, basically. But in a positive way, it also indicates that someone is an inspirational leader. You're going to be acting on your unique point of view. Uranus, unique, and acting on something, making a decision about something is Mars. And the uniqueness can connect to Sagittarius as well. Or I give you another example. When Mars is out of bound and it notices an element of injustice, for example, then they become the promoter, someone who is going promoting as in, something against injustice, or they're going to be standing up against it because they want to make elements of correction in it. So I'm just going to give you a few names who were born with out-of-bound planets. Martin Luther King, for example, or Karl Marx, or Malcolm X, or Frida Kahlo, Robin Williams, David Lynch. Just a few names to mention who were born with out-of-bound Mars. So out-of-bound Mars can give us loads of passion, and then it somehow pushes you to act on something. I feel like if you channel your out of bound Mars properly, then you might go against social norms. You might be fighting back against any type of rules, and that's possible. Or you might put everything on a microscopic scale and when looking at whether it's right or wrong. This is a planetary energy which makes you feel inspired about something. Yes, it could talk about toxic masculinity as well. Of course, it could become more aggressive, more assertive, and it might become a topic, what a toxic masculine world we live in at the moment. That's a possibility. Often, when Mars goes out of bound, people become more selfish. And I do not feel that it is a bad thing, by the way. Mars is all about putting himself first anyway. So when it goes out of bound, it gets magnified significantly. I feel like, one of the most important element is with Venus being in the sign of Scorpio to be able to balance that, right? Because Mars is the dispositor of Venus at the moment. But often we are reminded to look at our needs first. For example, this could be a message to a Pisces sun, a Pisces rising sign, or even Cancer rising, Cancer moon, or Cancer sun as well. Or, you know what? You might feel that you have been trapped in your life, and this Mars wants to get you out of that mud. Let's climb out. Let's gather all of our strength because we can get there. This is also a message, especially because of the Sagittarius element, that you should not care about what people think of you because we've got free speech. And it might sound scary, right? That you should not care about what other people think of you. But does it really determine who you are? You're going to have to be, again, honest with yourself about that. Uh, yes, it's also very possible that you are going to be dealing with harsh criticism, or you are going to be dealing with physical and emotional difficulties during this period. Because what Mars out of bound does, that it's really trying to push us to our limits. So it might be pushing you to play hard or to work out hard. I'm going to give you an example. Of course, you're going to have to look at where Mars goes out of bound in your chart. But when it went out of bound in the sign of Cancer, approximately 2 years ago, I believe, that's when I started gym, and I became very obsessed, and I was training 2, 3 hours a day, pretty much twice a day, actually. So sometimes it was 4 hours. And as soon as Mars went inbound, that passion and desire kind of dropped. And I still went to the gym, but only once a day, approximately 1.5 hours. So I cut it back big time. So, so it is definitely vitalizing you somehow. Yes, sometimes what happens is that we push our own body to the limits. We drink too much, we eat too much, and then after we think badly about ourselves as well. So I would say that with Mars being out of bound, it becomes quite innovative. It is thinking about the trends. It wants to contribute something to the society. I also describe Mars being out of bound is the mega athlete, someone who is training for a marathon, for example, because it gives you a lot more energy. Or in the business world, this could actually indicate that you are a pioneering figure. You are coming up with some great projects, which is might be shocking the world actually, but it can take off pretty much. So loads of ideas coming with that. By the way, Mars is going to go out of bound on 19 degree and goes back inbound on 14 degree of Capricorn. So I would be looking at if you have got anything on 19 degree of Sagittarius or 14 degree of Capricorn plus minus 1 degree. Because that is going to be affecting you significantly, I would say. My midheaven is placed on 19 degree of Sagittarius. So you might see me a lot more. By the way, it's very interesting that out-of-bound Mars is going to be hitting the Mercury retrograde degree, of course, which is a degree of Capricorn. So that could be a quite a rough period there. So that's going to be somewhere this first, second week of January. It's very possible that that's when, for example, those demonstrations and so forth will be happening. So briefly, this is the out of bound Mars I wanted to mention to you. Use it in a great way, get it going, make sure that you have got something to look forward to, something to work on. I feel like this Mars out of bound is actually great at setting goals, especially with Mercury retrograde being involved as well in the sign of Capricorn. So you might be able to accomplish something in 2024 if you put your mind to it. And that is the Mars out of bound on the Mercury retrograde degree. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Bye bye.